hey, look, a chicken.
Yes, Jesus.
Get behind me, Satan. Seriously. Take two. Because the first take turned out crap. I was using the Sony 7S, and apparently I don't know what I'm doing. Just brush that off. Continue on. But not only did that happen, then I dropped a super heavy tripod onto my finger. It is now throbbing, and it's starting to bruise a little bit, so that's fun. Most people that I meet, or even like friends that I have, don't know that I actually have a disability. It's true. Disability. My disability is not obvious and can't be seen with the naked eye. So therefore, it's a little bit harder to explain and a little bit harder to understand for most people. I'm now able to understand it better and to understand how to help myself better, but it is nothing that I will ever overcome or not have at some point in my life. I have a learning disability called nonverbal learning disability, or if you're lazy like most of the world, you can just say NLD like I do. I also have ADD. That's why I am the way I am. And people say, hey, stop being so ADD. And I say, hey, I actually have ADD. It's the annoyance that goes along with people just flippantly throwing that phrase around to literally mean anything, or to mean whatever they want, or to give themselves an excuse when it actually is a disorder that people have, and it's nothing to laugh about. It's not funny, actually. The whole like, hey, look, a chicken. It's not really that funny, because I have literally done that before. When people just say like, oh man, I'm so ADD, and I'm like, oh really, do you have ADD? I have ADD. And they're like, oh, I don't actually have it, but I'm like, okay, then don't say that you have ADD. Moving on. So I have NLD, like I mentioned, and basically I'm not really going to get into what that is and what that really entails, because that's like a class that you should take because it's just, there's so much there. So I'm not really going to get into what it is, but it does affect my logic, math, science, organization, structure. I used to hate the fact that I had a learning disability, and I despised it. Growing up with it, it was something I didn't want to have because it secluded me from the rest of my class, and it made me different, and I stood out, not in a good way, like, hey, she's so cool, but hey, she's so weird, why isn't she in our math class type of way. It wasn't until I was well into my high school years that I had the revelation that having the disabilities that I have are actually something to be proud of, and something that makes me unique and special. And sure, they affect one area, but they actually make me stronger in another area. I'm aware that what I'm about to say next will or might offend some people, and you might disagree with what I have to say. And I'm not going to say it to try and create a response or make people angry in any way. Yes, that is not my intention, but since this is such a big part of who I am in my life, it's important that I be completely honest with how I feel about it and the truth that I have come to know. So if you disagree and you're like, that's stupid, you just go ahead and do that, ma'am. I believe that God created me with this learning disability. There you go. I'm not one of those people that thinks that God gives you cancer or God kills people, because that's just simply not his character. Now, I believe the enemy, being Satan, he does things against us because he literally hates our guts and wants us to die. So, truth. So God doesn't create bad things in our life. He simply will take those bad things and turn them into good. Satan is the one that puts bad things into our life, or us making stupid choices, because we have free will. So we shouldn't be blaming everything on God when we're just being stupid. What was I gonna say? This is the ADD I was talking about. I was saying words that form sentences, and there was a thought behind it. But I do believe that he created me with this learning disability, and that's where people are like, what? How is there any difference between that and like cancer? But it all depends on how you look at what a disability is and what that means. I believe that the way that the world sees disability is, obviously, it's in a negative way. I think, honestly, God looks at disabilities, especially like, I'm just me, because this video is about me. God looks at it differently. I don't really necessarily think that he views my disability as like a negative thing. I think he knows that, it makes things harder for me because the rest of the world, the majority of the world, is a certain way, and then there's me outside of that. So because of that, I have to learn how to be like how to fit in with the rest of the world and do things the way that they do things. But really, my brain is just different. I was just created in a different way. So therefore, I think the rest of the world looks at it as a negative thing because I do things differently than they do things. So therefore, it's like oh, no, you're different. You have a disability. Poor you. Yeah, sometimes it does suck. Sometimes, life would be better if I didn't have this disability. But because I do have this disability, literally the disability affects my math, science, like I was saying earlier, side of my brain. And the other side of my brain, the artistic, creative, musical, whatever, that, like, who even knows what I would be like? Like, I probably wouldn't be as creative as I am, and like I love that part of me. I love my creative side, my artistic abilities, like all of that, and so that's kind of why I like appreciate having the disability, because it makes me think in a different way, and it makes me see the world through a different lens. If you are someone watching this who has a learning disability, I just want to let you know that you're pretty cool, and the things that you've gone through are noted as being difficult, and your struggle is real. Struggle's real, man. Someone with a learning disability, I know it's like really hard, and I know there's been, for me, countless tears shed because of being different, because of the struggle, because of just not knowing how to do life. And you were created with a purpose for this world, to do something with those gifts and abilities and with your differences, to stand out and make a difference and do something for this world. And yes! Let's do life! Yeah, baby! Stick with it, kid. You're gonna do great things. That's all I got for you today, guys. Until next time, remember that you were created for a purpose and for a plan. And always remember to love it and to love life.